The floor of the van's so dirty it looks like I brought about half a quartzsite back with me. Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Chuck. It's Sunday, January 19th, 2025, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm out here putting the van back together and getting it ready to go on the next trip. I like to keep it all stocked up so I don't have to hustle at the last minute. So what have I been doing today? Well, I took my dishes in and washed them, and I just brought them back out and put them away, and took the laundry in, washed that, and just brought the laundry bag out and put it back in here. I also made sure I had at least 4 of these greenies for the Mr. Buddy heater. So I used 2 of them on the trip, so I brought 2 fresh ones out there. I refill those. I don't buy new ones every time. I also took the partial case of drinking water out of there and put a whole new one in there. So I'm all stocked up again. I never got into my water reserves at all on this trip. But I did have an issue, and I want to kind of see if I can figure this out. Maybe I can figure out how to show you. This thing has got 2 batteries, and it's got the regular starting battery, which is up under the hood, and it's got a coach battery, and the coach battery is back there under the floor. Now it has a device that's called a isolator that allows that coach battery to charge. But let me show you what the issue is. This little deal here, by the way, this is just a little voltmeter that plugs into your 12-volt power port. The 12-volt power port, remember back when they used to call them cigarette lighter plugs? Well, now they call them power ports. But it does 2 things. It tells you what your voltage is, and it also has a USB port on there so I can charge my phone. So what I do when I'm traveling is I just plug this thing in here, and I plug my phone right in there and just leave my phone sit right there, and that's how I charge it. Okay, well, if you look at it now, you see we're sitting at 12.4 volts, and that's exactly where it should be. It's at rest. The truck's not running, so that means that that battery's in good shape. But let me take this back here and show you what's going on here. This is my charging port, and this is powered off the back battery. And if I turn this on, it says I've only got 7.7 volts. All right, well, there's obviously a problem there somewhere. So first thing we'll do, let's plug this in here and double check the accuracy of that gauge. If this one, okay, that one's saying 7.7, so they're both the same. So we know that this is accurate, so that's not the issue. The most logical thing to think about would be possibly that that back battery's gone bad. Maybe it has, because it's a bit older. But what I'm going to do first is, let me do this before get my keys out here. I'm going to start the motor. Put that back in there. Get my correct key here. I'm going to start the motor, and we're going to take a look and see what that does, and we're going to see what that back one does. So this one's sitting at 12.3 volts before I start the engine. Should go up to about 14 once the motor's running. There we go, 14.7, 14.3, 14.5. It jumps around a little bit. Okay, so that's doing exactly what it's supposed to be. That tells us that the alternator's charging correctly. All right, now let's see what this other one shows back here. Okay, this other one's still showing 7.7. Okay, that tells us one of 2 things. Either that battery's bad, or for some reason or other, the power's not getting back to it. All right, so I'm going to turn that back off. So I'm going to, there's a couple ways to check this. One of the things I got to do is check the isolator to make sure that the isolator's working. And I'm just going to take 2 hands to do that. So I'm going to bring you back here in just a few minutes and tell you where I'm at with this and see what I find out. Back shortly. So there's where the battery lives, underneath the floor in the back. And so I pulled the cover. Normally the porta potty sits there, but it's in the garage so it doesn't freeze. Getting down to mid-20s at night here. I don't want it to freeze and damage. And I used a multimeter and I checked this, and this thing's only got about 8 volts. And so it's down, but we don't know whether it's down because it's the battery's bad or whether it's the because it hasn't been able to get charged through the isolator. So what I'm going to do is, you can see I've got my battery maintainer here, and I got it plugged in, and the little light says it's charging right there. And so we're going to leave that on there for a little bit, and we're going to see if that brings that battery back up. Now we do have current coming through the isolator. I checked that, and so but I don't know for sure what the if the isolator itself is bad or whether it's this battery, but we'll figure that out here pretty quick. So I'll just leave that on there for a while. Had to run electricity out here to it. Had to run power cord out here, obviously, to run the battery charger. So we're going to just leave this sit for a little bit, and I'll be back with you again when I find out a little bit more to tell you. Well, it's a little bit later, and that coach battery on the floor in the back appears to be bouncing back. So that's leading me to think that maybe the isolator here has gone bad. And while I was looking at it and trying to check it, I found a real bad connection on this wire right here. So I went ahead and I replaced that. And where that goes actually is that goes to my radio. And this is the ground for it. And what I did is when I put the radio in the dash, instead of running it off of the starting battery, I went ahead and ran it clear up here and ran it into the output side of the isolator, so it runs off the coach battery. And the reason for that is that way if I'm camped somewhere and I'm playing tunes and I happen to leave it on too long, it's not going to run the starting battery down, it'll run the coach battery down. And one of the reasons why I knew I had a problem is I was driving along and all of a sudden the radio quit working, and what happened was the voltage got too low to make the radio work, so it just shut itself off. Well, after I put the charger on it for a little bit, all of a sudden the radio came back on all by itself. So that tells me that I was right, that there's nothing wrong with the radio itself, and that it had to do with the voltage drop. So it's looking like maybe it's that isolator. But while I was monkeying around in here too, I went over here and took a look at these things, and these things are a bit corroded. And so I decided I was going to take them. Decided I was going to take that off and clean it. Well, you can see how corroded these terminals are. It's going to replace these terminals, and on the end of both these wires, and put a new bolt in there, and I was going to clean that up. Well, that thing is all galled to pieces. It ain't going to come apart. So right now I'm not close enough for the air hose to reach in order to cut that bolt so I can get it apart. So I'm going to have to wait on that until I can pull the van up close to the front of the garage door. It's sitting over in the dirt right now. So I still got that to do. I thought that might have been my issue with the low voltage, but in checking them, they both seem like they're still making contact, even though it looks like heck. But I will replace those and fix that before I'm done here. So right now, let's walk back here to the back and take a look at that, see how that battery's doing. I don't think it's going to be charged up already. No, it still says this little amber light says it's charging, and when it's fully charged, this green one will come on. So it's still charging in there, but it seems like it's taking a charge. Now back over here, if we get back up here and double check this thing, we'll find out that we are at, look at that, we're at 12.4 volts, which is where we should be actually, which is why the radio started working. So we are, it looks like at this point anyway, we are taking a charge, and we'll still follow up on it further. But I think we narrowed down our culprit. Now this the battery here in the back is actually, it was dated January of 2017, so it's a pretty old battery. It would have surprised me if it went bad. And the one in the front, let's go check and see on the one in the front. It's dated February of 22, so it's almost 3 years old too. So in all reality, what I probably really should do, just for preventive maintenance purposes, is I should probably take that battery out of the back. They're both the same battery. And so I should probably take this one, put it in the back, and then put a new one up here. Because, you know, batteries, after they get over about 3 years old, especially if you're out there all by yourself, you don't want to get stranded just because your battery decides to go bad. So I think that's basically all I can tell you for today, because right now all we can do is wait until that charges a little bit more. But I'm going to have to figure out a way to test that thing for sure, to make sure that that's whether it's working or not. I may have to do some research on how to test those. But anyway, for right now, I think I'll just tell you to take care of each other and love each other, and I'll be back again with another one. I got to go work on my old white truck, but I'm going to tackle that, I don't know, probably Tuesday or so, depending on the weather. It was actually supposed to be pretty cold today. It's actually not bad out here. It's in the high 40s. And now tomorrow is Noli's day, and then I got a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. And so I'll be back with you with another one here pretty quick. Right now, let me just tell you, peace out. I'll give you another look at that old battery business. See you later.